Welcome to Campus Deep Dive. I am your host, Centel, and I am here with my guest,
Iyana Beachem.
All right, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet
Again.
you. Again.
Yeah, we had some technical difficulties last time, but of course, we're not breaking the fourth wall yet. So I have a simple but hard question to ask you. Mm-hmm. You've never heard this before?
Never heard it before.
Okay. And it's a different day, so how's your day?
My day has been very busy but good. A lot of meetings, but very productive.
A lot of meetings?
A lot of meetings. I've literally had meetings since 7 this morning. I think my biggest gap was 45 minutes.
And why is that?
Let's just say I'm wearing a lot of different hats right now that prayerfully will pay off very soon. And that requires me to do a lot of preparations and be in a lot of different places and talk to some very great, awesome people who want to pour into me. So, yeah, it's worth it.
Okay. So are you allowed to disclose anything from these meetings?
Other than the fact that I'm very excited about it, and then when I do present it, I feel like it'll give off the message that I'm trying to achieve.
That's good enough to me.
Right.
So where are these being presented at?
Everywhere, honestly. Social media is preferred. Of course, word of mouth.
Will it be school?
Oh, of course it'll be school. Definitely will be school. And then, of course, long term, because some of it's personal, most of it's professional. It's like a mix, which is the best thing, because that means my passions get to show through my work.
Mm-hmm. Okay. That's what's up. So, we had a little conversation last time, but that one was before I found my forte, which is asking questions on the spot.
You ask great questions on the spot.
Yeah, so that's what we're going to do today. And I just want to start off by asking, of course, in the shallow area, who are you?
That is not You asked this crazy. You asked like a broad question and expect me to give you like a one-lined answer.
And I'll explain this time. Okay, don't worry about it.
You'll explain. I can give you the answer.
I know you can, but I'll make it a
little more detailed. Give me something else.
All right. So who is Iyana Beachem? What do people know you as?
What do people know? See, what people know me as and who I am.
It's a three-part question.
Yeah, it's a hard question. Okay. So I think people know me. It depends on where you meet me. So if you meet me in the classroom, you'll see me as like a scientist, maybe a dork a little bit, which I'm very proud about.
Only in class?
Oh, definitely outside of class, but in class it's like maximum.
Okay.
If you meet me in maybe a student leadership setting, you'll kind of see me as like this driven, ambitious go-getter. If you meet me in, say, a more vulnerable space like church, or maybe if we cross paths after I leave therapy, you might see me as just like this regular student you've never seen before. You see me at the calf, I'm just this girl who waves to everybody and is bubbly. Who I am, that's a deep question. Like I said, it depends on where you meet me. I think what I love about who I am, especially right now, is I have many facets of myself that, though they complement each other, they are exalted in the right space and in the right time. And I'm able to give what's needed from that aspect of myself to that environment.
Okay. So what's up? And are you starting to despise any of these versions of yourself?
Only the parts that no longer fit me. And I don't think it's a despise or a distaste for, but more of a, I'm ready to let go of it and move on. I think now that I am in the process of moving on, setting new boundaries, taking that next step up, the past me that I don't really, versions of me that I no longer associate with or that I no longer claim to be me, I have more of an appreciation for them, because without that I wouldn't be here. So I needed to learn the lessons in that version of myself to be here now.
That is true, yeah. That's a good way of thinking about it, because without our past, there's no real future.
Right, and it's a stepping stone. As long as you look at it as an opportunity to grow, then it will no longer be something that holds you down. Because so many people do that thing where they sit and they like reminisce all the time. You're like, oh, I wish I would have. Okay, but you did it. So what about now?
Yeah.
What do we do from here?
Yeah, I feel like long as you're still breathing, you still have that
Yeah,
space.
you still have a chance. Every day is a new opportunity to live.
Yeah, it's very interesting. So with that being said, what about you do you still want to improve? the
Oh,
most
for
on?
sure. I never want to stop improving. I think my favorite story that goes with this. So my dad used to ask me all the time. He'd tell me like this parable about a garden, and there was two tomatoes, and one was green, and one was like green and small, and one was like this full ripe tomato. And he was like, "Which tomato do you want to be?" And obviously, being a kid, I was like, "I want to be the red tomato. It's huge and it's ready and it's." And he was like, "Well, if you're the red tomato, in a few weeks' time, you'll be rotten and gross. But if you're the green tomato, you'll always be growing." So I think the mindset is to never stop learning and never stop improving, because there's always an area in which you can reach next. There's always an aspect that you don't know about, or something that you can fulfill differently. So yeah, never stop improving is something that's a goal for me.
That's a good one. That's a really good one, actually. Yeah. And as our last guest leaves, man, I have a question I would want to ask, but first I have to get there. So we're back to the first question. Who are you? Not people's perspective of you. Outside of all that, who are you? What do you feel like you are? Are you insecure about anything?
Oh yeah.
Like what?
Honestly, I think insecure is the wrong word. I think it's kind of like wanting something so bad that you can like feel it. You know, like in your mind, you're already there. Impatience, the better word. I struggle with impatience. I think that's an insecurity of mine, because I'll rush something very quickly just to mimic it, because that's how excited I am to even be in that space or have something that's close to it, you know? So who I believe I am, I definitely would say, this is going to sound so cliche, but I definitely say that I'm a lover. It's really difficult for me to not like something, because I feel like I have this perspective of being able to find the good or the beauty in anything. Even it can be like the worst, like most dogged out situation. And I've lived a couple of dogged out situations and been able to come out the other side and still show that person grace because of the love that I have for life, or the situation I went through, or that perspective.
Right.
So I definitely would say I'm a lover. And I would say that I'm driven and I'm childlike, all in the same, you know? And I think that allows things to remain fun, because I don't get stiff or hardened at what I go through or the difficulties that I have, but instead I'm able to rejoice on the other end of it because of the childlike spirit, the childlike heart that I maintain. Because there's always something fun about everything. Even when it's really, really tough, there's always something fun about every situation you endure.
Right. Yeah, I feel like the main thing is just knowing when to turn on that child.
Exactly. There's definitely time and place. And I've learned time and place through trial and error, but it's just a matter of not losing it. When you turn it off, be sure that you can still turn it back on.
Right.
And I've learned that having that balance of, okay, we're mainly adult-like, but we have this little child aspect, keeps the emotions in the room at a certain level. So then it's more productive that way. If everyone's stern, if everyone's locked up, there's no vulnerability, there's no transparency. It's very difficult to work with people that way.
Right. I can see that, yeah. Definitely. And that's a good way of thinking about things, because life in itself is what you pretty much make it.
Right.
So if you put yourself as a transparent person, that's what you receive.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Once again, who is Iyana Beachem?
You asked that question 3 times.
I know, but there's a different answer coming this time. So,
Different answer coming?
when you're in the room by yourself.
Ooh, vulnerable. Definitely lowly in the word. Not lowly as in depressed, but lowly as full of humility. I'm definitely in a decompressed state. I feel like I shrink a little bit, you know? Because when I'm in these spaces, you kind of put on your character and you're like, okay. And it's not like it's a fake version of me. It's just a different version of me that needs to exist in this place, time and space. But when it's just me by myself, I never think it's just me by myself. I always know that it's me and God, because my faith is like, you know. So it's definitely a lowly, just a place of humility and kind of just about what happened, and I reflect, and yeah. So that's me when I'm alone.
Okay. It's interesting. So when you're by yourself, from what you said before, you said in a public setting, like at the cafeteria or something, you're more bubbly. But when you're by yourself,
It's still there. It's just not as out. Because I love people and I feed off of people. So if I meet someone who's matching my energy, even if they're not, I'm still going to be bubbly. I'm still going to wave. I'm still going to smile. I'm still going to start a conversation and be concerned. Because I love, love, love people. I love their stories. I love their look, you know. Like, it's hard for me to go in the caf and not give at least, like, 3 compliments every time I go in and out of the caf. But when I'm by myself, the bubbliness is still there. The interactions aren't really there. It's just me. But, like, if I'm, like, looking at content or watching a movie, like, that interaction within is still there. But it's more toned down because it's just me. And I know me. So it's more of a comfort. Okay, we're here. We know this space. It's casual.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
So you don't feel like that is a problem or like something that you may need to work on? It just depends on the setting.
It does depend on the setting. Honestly, I see where you're coming from because there are times where I've been tempted to be performative. And I think what keeps me from being performative is understanding that I can't be on it all the time. I'm allowed to make mistakes and I'm allowed to not fill that role one day. So if I can't give you that bubbly character in the caf one day, it doesn't mean that there's any less love or that I was fake before. It just means that today needs a different character or today needs a different side of me, and that's fine. So it's not like it's a problem. It's more of understanding that I am a whole person and there's more than one facet. So you know how you asked me 3 different times and there's 3 different layers?
There's a reason for that.
You see what I'm saying? So I see where you're going with this. But each layer matters in its own way. And each layer has to be presented at its own time. But just because one is presented doesn't mean that the other 2 are fake.
And the reason I'm asking you this is because you're one of the more popular students that I've interviewed. So I don't want to. I want everyone else to see that you're a human as well.
Oh yeah.
You have emotions. Like some people think because the influence that you have on other people that you're no longer human or you're this big spectacle that no one can ever achieve.
Right.
But you also have moments too, like where you just feel chill or you don't feel like interacting with people.
Or I even feel like quitting.
Right.
That's how I know a lot of the times that it's not about me, because if it was, I definitely would have stopped a long time ago.
Because we're all human.
Yeah.
It just depends how you use that. Because I would say anxiety. I had moments where I felt that anxiety could be something that defined me. But I used that energy instead to like produce something like right now.
Right.
To do something more useful than just, sitting in my situation type thing.
Which is interesting that you say that because I'm honestly terrified of public speaking.
Oh, yeah?
Yes, but I'm literally speaking at a rally next. Like, I've done interviews in front of the Supreme Court. I've spoken in front of my student body before. I'm speaking at a rally next week.
Oh, yeah?
Like, but every time I speak, even though my voice sounds strong, my hands shake. Like, I've had to work on making sure that my voice doesn't waver and breathing through my words. So even now, like, we're calm, but I'm placing my hands still so they won't move so you can't see that they're moving.
Yeah.
So it's like, everyone has their thing.
Yeah, definitely. And it's interesting that you brought that up, though, because when I'm actually in the public speaking class to where you have to work on these motions and it's virtual, so they can see everything and basically hear the wavering in your voice.
Right.
So working on these things in multiple facets, because that's what I'll want to end up doing.
Right.
But it's hard still, every day. This show isn't easy.
What's harder is having the vision but not fulfilling it.
True.
Because if you're where you're supposed to be, I feel like everything is with intention. So you being able to do this show, you being able to have me and other guests on this show and produce it as well as you do, was not on accident.
Right.
You have the gift, you have the talent, and this is your timing to do it. What would be harder is to know that you have the gift, you have the talent, and the timing, but then not do it because you have anxiety.
Right.
You can get over that. I mean, of course, it's a very real thing, and it's very difficult to manage and deal with, but it's something that is manageable.
Right. It shouldn't be something that defines me.
Exactly. It's a part of you, but it's not all that you are.
And I want to end off the show with the same question I asked before, and I kind of ask this a lot now. But what is your favorite anime? But there's a twist on it before you answer.
Mm-hmm.
Is there an anime that you watched and actually learned a life lesson from?
I can't even remember the name of it now. But it was this one movie, and they kind of showed, it's like, it was very cliche because it showed like kind of like the effects of bullying like long term, and they kind of like went to elementary school together, ended up at high school, and he like saved her from like jumping off the ledge. It was so dramatic.
Oh, A Silent Voice.
Silent Voice. I love that movie. Oh my God. That movie, I learned so much from it. I really learned a lot from it. I think.
You learned to stop bullying.
No, no, that cyberbully, that old behind 2005 movie Cyberbully, that taught me not to, that actually made me afraid of high school. That's a whole different conversation. Silent Voice showed me the impact that I had within my family, because when they were sitting at the table and he had told his mom his plans, and she was like, why would you say that? I literally wouldn't know what to do without you and your little sister and this and that and third. And I was like, wow, like, I'm more, even though I'm my mother's daughter, I'm also like a very vital part of her life. And as long as I've been alive, I've been a part of her life. So for me to leave or to quit or to stop doing what I'm doing just because I feel like something's difficult or because it's hard wouldn't just impact me, it would impact the environments that I'm supposed to be in. There would always be a hole in the spaces that I was supposed to fill.
Right.
You know? So that's definitely what that show taught me.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah, that's a very deep and thoughtful answer about anime.
It was a good question.
Don't
Anime's dope.
Don't you think so? Very good. So with that being said, this is where we'll wrap it up. So there's another episode of Campus Deep Dive, and I'll be back with another episode soon.